There's no doubt about this one thing, okay? There's one thing you just can't doubt. Cars are very demanding. They really demand a lot of money, not only in just in purchasing and keeping the registration and all that such. It also costs a lot of money to keep that car just going, and clearly this is definitely the case with Red Fox, because Red Fox has gotten very comfortable with my wallet lately, especially last week. Allow me to explain what, well, basically been hogging all of my money lately and why I can't basically buy anything else until I can pay off what my car's been demanding. Let's get into it. So in this video, I wanted to talk about the general expenses that have unexpectedly come up, and I don't want to talk about gas prices because they've been fluctuating ever since you know when, and they're basically at all-time highs, and it's not expected for them to go down anytime soon, unfortunately. So I'm going to leave gas out of the equation in terms of the amount of money that my car has been demanding. I'm going to instead talk about all the other things that my car has demanded from me in the past, as well as the recent things of today. So first of all, when I bought the car, I basically paid $1,000 for it, which at the time was, yeah, it's kind of cheap, though I gotta admit, for the car I bought, yeah, it definitely needed some work on it. In fact, when I bought it at the time, it wasn't even safe to drive on the road. It was so unsafe to drive. I actually had my dad drive that car home for me because, yeah, it wasn't safe to drive. It had to get fixed first. And so, well, here's where all of the bills start coming in. First, we gotta pay for a battery because the battery in that actually had a dead cell in it, which wasn't really helpful in terms of getting that car started. Sometimes it worked, well, sometimes it didn't. So got the battery replaced. I think that was like $75 or something. Don't quote me on that, but I think it was around like 75 bucks for a battery replacement. And then we had to get the rest of so many other suspension related things. That's basically been the heart of the issues with my car. It's mostly been the suspension. There's other issues that I have personally with it, but they're not, well, safety features that need repair. So the first thing we have to talk about is the bearings. Bearings cost $100, at least, well, the bearings that my car requires. So each bearing costs $100. I basically had to replace one bearing in particular first before I could get that car on the road in a safe condition. I'm probably going to have to shell out money every year for bearings, A, because of how crappy our roads are, and B, evidently there's a design flaw in the bearings for that car, and basically any bearing, doesn't matter high quality, low quality, there's a design flaw in those bearings, and you'd think, okay, well, now we found the flaw, let's actually rectify it. Nope, we can't rectify it. Instead, we have to buy every single bearing with the exact same design flaw. So I'm going to have to replace these very frequently. So how many have I replaced so far? 5. So multiply that by $100 because it's $100 per bearing. $500. You might be thinking, that doesn't really add up. Why'd you have to replace 5 bearings when there's only 4 on your car? 1 bearing per wheel. Well, I guess I basically just have to say that 5 out of 4 people have a problem with fractions. Yeah, I've already spent $500 just on wheel bearings. And then the rest, it gets to be a little bit of a nightmare. So the next part-related problem that I've had was actually in my fueling system. I got a leak in the fuel lines, not just in back, but also in front. That was around $300 to get that fixed. Yeah, $300. That was not cheap. So in terms of repair expenses, okay, we have to jack that price up to another $300. So we're currently at $800 in repairs and such. Brake components. Brake pads are fairly cheap, rotors are not, and that's about around $100 for a set. It might be more closer to like $125 or something, but I'm going to round it to $100. So that's one set of pads and rotors for each set of wheels. So what does that give us a total cost of? Around $400. So tack on $400 to that $800 price tag already. So that's $1,200 I've already spent on in terms of repairs. Then we also had to get brake calipers as well, because unfortunately the old ones on every single caliper have frozen up. Yep, they've completely frozen. Luckily, we basically didn't really have to pay anything for them because my dad knows a few people at our auto parts store, and because of that, we can get pretty good deals on such. So basically what we ended up doing was we took the old calipers in and traded them for new ones, and basically it didn't cost us anything. So okay, thank goodness, because calipers are not cheap, especially if you don't trade in the old ones. And then the last thing we need to talk about is tires. And well, actually, there's one other thing we need to talk about just real quick, but the last primary thing I need to talk about in terms of expenses, tires. Tires are not cheap. The pair of winter tires that my car has, because I have 2 sets of tires now, actually. So the pair of winter tires that I originally got, because when I got the car, oh, that thing really needed new tires. Thank goodness that was paid for by my parents, so I didn't actually have to pay a penny for that. They gave that to me as a Christmas present. Okay, I got tires for $600, or actually for free, but the tires themselves cost $600, and let's just pretend I had paid for them. I technically didn't have to pay for them, but someone had to pay for them, and they're not cheap, so that's another $600 on top of the $1,200. So all right, that's $1,800 so far. And then we finally had to get a pair of summer tires, which I finally got a couple weeks ago, and let me just say, oh, those summer tires are so nice. How much did they cost though? Yeah, $700. So that brings us to a total of $2,500 in, well, components costs. However, during the process of getting new tires on, we've also discovered another problem with the car, and it's that, well, it needed a realignment. How much did that cost? About 120 bucks. But that wasn't all. There was a problem with the left tie rod. Thank goodness it was only the left one. I hear the right one was in pretty good condition, to my surprise, because, oh dang, does my car take abuse on our roads, because our roads suck. So how much did it actually cost to get the realignment done? Because we had to get a new tie rod and such, because yeah, that was not good. $300. So that brings us from $2,500 to $2,800. And this is pretty much going to sum up the majority of all of the hardware things that I've had to invest in the car. $2,800. This is almost 3 times as much as I've paid just to acquire the car itself. And then the last things I need to discuss, I mean, okay, I did have to do an oil change, and that was like, the cost of oil was expensive because unfortunately not only are gas prices rising, all of our oil products have also been increasing in price, so I've had to pay a premium for that, unfortunately. It actually cost around like $100, so yeah, I get $2,900. So I had to do that one oil change that one time, and of course, I did not get just the cheap, crappy oil, because I don't know about you, but I actually would prefer if my car were to last. So to do that, I want to get high quality components for it, so that way those high quality components actually help the car last. So because of that, I got a higher quality oil than the regular standard stuff that everyone gets. So all right, yeah, it cost me about $100 to get the oil and the oil pump, because, well, you need to get an oil filter and such. And that is basically going to sum up pretty much all of my costs and repairs. Oh, I forgot that windshield wiper pump I had to get, because when I got the car, the windshield wiper pump basically failed. I had to get that replaced, but that was relatively cheap. I don't remember how much it cost, but it was very inexpensive. So yeah, I basically invested 3 times as much money as it cost to get the car acquired. And then I finally just paid my tabs today. I got those mailed out, so I should be getting my new registration updated, as well as a new sticker for the license plate. Here in the state of Michigan, it costs $133 just for the standard, well, renewal. And if you want to get like state park access and such, well, then you gotta pay an extra $12 for it. And I decided I want to road trip my car a little more, because it's gotten 6,000 miles in city miles already. Just doing city miles isn't the best thing to do for your car. So because of that, I want to start taking my car on more road trips. We've actually got one planned out where we might actually end up taking my car, because my family's other cars are not doing so hot at the moment. But yeah, basically my car has really been demanding on my wallet, especially within the past couple of weeks, because I just bought new tires for the car. I had to get that realignment done, so basically I've invested about $1,000 at this point in the past 2 weeks. Cars are very expensive to maintain, especially if you buy used cars. If you buy a car brand new, you basically won't have these issues until like a few years later. A general rule of thumb. It will happen at some point, especially depending on the types of roads you live on. But I have to say, I think I'm done investing in getting the car to run properly, because so far, ever since I had that check engine light come on, it's basically hasn't come on ever since the couple days that I've had it come on. It's only come on for those couple days due to the temperature sensor, but whatever happened must have fixed itself, because it hasn't come on ever since. To my knowledge, the engine is healthy, especially due to the oil I'm giving it. The engine should remain healthy. The transmission is also healthy. It hasn't given me any weird things. The ABS system is still kind of weird. I don't know why it happened ever since I've installed that one bearing. To my knowledge, the car should be functional for a much longer period of time. I got new tires for it, well, for the summer especially. Once winter comes around, I'm putting the winter tires back on because, well, you need winter tires where I live. And yes, you need dedicated winter tires. All seasons are not good enough up here for the winter. So yeah, it's expensive, but I mean, I really don't want to jinx myself, but I think I'm in the clear this time. I think I've invested in all of the mechanical bits that needed attention. The gas tank, the bearings and such, at least for a while. The front bearings I'm probably gonna have to change more often, and it's honestly probably because of the roads I live on, but it's only $100 a pop, so it's not too terrible compared to some other components. And basically, the only reason why I should be paying for part replacements is if for whatever reason the car gets in an accident. There's other minor things that I do need to replace though, like the locks in my car are actually starting to fail, and that's not good because I actually got trapped in my car the other day because the doors wouldn't unlock. I even pulled on it manually. It was jammed locked. Thankfully, enough times of messing with the electronic button, lock and unlock, I eventually got it to pop right back up. But yeah, the locks need replacement, that is guaranteed. And if there's any other parts that I want to replace, pretty much it's just like panels and such. Like for example, the grill is punctured due to that one accident I got in. The bumper, part of it looks like it wants to fall off, but it's hanging in there. And then if I want to get that rear dent in my car addressed, then yeah, I could do that. But basically, the only repairs left that parts wise, it's basically, well, the interior features, like for example, the door locks, those need to get fixed. And then just general styling elements like my grill. My grill is still functional and air still gets in, and considering it's got that puncture mark in it now, I guess air gets in easier. And then there's basically the rest of the body panels, like the bumper, the headlight, the rear dent, if I want to get those addressed. So yeah, it's expensive, but I think for now, I'm in the clear of major hardware bills because I've been driving my car for the past few days, and honestly, I don't recall my car driving as smooth as it does today. The engine revs up just fine. The engine's smooth, the transmission's smooth, power delivery is smooth. The car feels smooth on the highway for once. I think I'm in the clear. At this point, the only time I should be making an expensive repair is if I get in another accident that damages multiple components. And even then, due to my driving skills, I mean, I don't want to brag or anything, but due to my driving skills, I think I'm probably going to be pretty good. I think I'm in the clear for at least a bit longer of a period than I've been in before. So, okay, Red Fox, you're doing very well now, especially in terms of mechanical bits. I hope you stay together because, oh boy, I am so tired of spending money on getting your mechanical bits replaced. Okay, they're finally replaced. Well, let's keep it replaced. Okay, let's not have to replace things even more. All right, so now that that's done, those are the general expenses and repairs that I've basically come to realize. The rest are all just little bits like a door lock, probably cheap enough, honestly. I still gotta figure out how to get into the rear door, the rear right door, because that door still doesn't open, but again, minor issues that should be relatively cheap to fix. So that is your current Red Fox update. Red Fox is doing fine. She's driving much better than ever. Now that I've gotten all of these major issues fixed, well, some are maybe more minor than others, but now that I've got the majority of these issues fixed, I'm feeling much more confident in owning my car, and I'm feeling a lot more happier than ever. So, okay, Red Fox, I think you're done pulling my wallet. Okay, let's keep it that way. Thank you for watching. Do me a favor and interact with the stuff below. My name is DeWolf, Random Alpha, signing out.